everyone, and welcome along to today's video. I've been asked about low pressure again to tap or taps and what the problem can be. Seems a lot of you having a bit of a headache. Now, most of you that will suffer from this problem have usually got something like an F&E system, that is a roof tank in the loft and a hot water cylinder. And that means the pressure invariably is lower to start with. Okay, looking at F&E systems first then, one thing that happens is the humble airlock, which quite often happens when the roof tank has a chance to empty down before it's full up, and then you get air in the system. Quite easy to clear it out though, very simple. I'll give you a link to one of my videos if that happens to you. Now, a lot of problems can be when, say, you've had a set of new sink taps put on at the kitchen sink, for instance. You find the cold one, which is off the mains, is nice and fast, but the hot one, my golly, that's slowed right down, is it? So why has that happened? Well, let me show you a set of old mixers I've got here that I took off the other day, well, a couple of months ago now, and you'll see, here it is, you'll see that the inlet hoses are really tiny. Now look at that. Now the water's got to get up that tiny little hole and into an even smaller hole into the actual tap. So therefore the pressure's reduced. It drops down considerably, and because you're using these little thin hoses, there's nothing much you can do about it. The mains will always push through, and if you've got a combi boiler, also it will push through because it's mains fed on the hot side. So it's always going to be fine. And it's kind of like these taps have been made for combi boilers rather than F&E systems. So there's not much you can do when you've got that. Make sure basically this tap you buy will suit a low pressure system. Okay, and that means it has big holes inside the tap to keep that opening fully open. Alright, now another thing that can happen is you get appliances like toilet systems and things like that, again on low pressure, that have been fitted with these, and you find someone's kinked the hose like that. I mean, look, there's a typical kink, and it's a real bad one there. I took off the other day and you can see like it's really bad, and that will stop the flow also. But apart from that, they usually have these valves fitted on the front again with a tiny little hole. Look at that, you know, it's just midget. So unfortunately that will have the effect of slowing the pressure. So if this was on the cold feed to a cistern, for instance, you would find the water going in rather slow. Also, you may find a valve in a toilet cistern that's got a high pressure seat arrangement inside it, which will also slow the flow down if you've got a slow filling cistern that's fed from the cold tank in the loft. Alright, a couple of things that can happen. Also, these little beauties, take this little swivel connector here. Pipe could go right up to your toilet cistern, but you've still got this tiny little hole through here which the feeder's got to get through into the ball valve. The other thing people think is if they get a wider flexi like this one, they're going to get more pressure through to whatever you're feeding, whatever it is, a tap or anything else, so it won't be so bad. But unfortunately the hole in the middle, even against this thin one, is exactly the same. Yes, you know, there's no difference. They're both exactly identical. You're not going to get any more pressure out of this used hose or this thin one. They're both going to be the same. So it is a real problem. So some of you may have mains fed all over the house. Now you may find with this mains pressure everything should be hunky-dory, but you may find one appliance is still a bit slow. And what has happened there? Why does it seem like it should be faster, but it actually is running quite slow? So you've got mains, you should be fine. So let's take the isolation valve again, and this is what usually the culprit is. Someone's put an isolation valve in, and maybe the tap's been splashing over the wash basin, for instance, a popular one. You turn the hot or the cold one on and it's too fast, it comes over. So someone puts one of these on the feed, and what they do is they turn it down. So they get a screwdriver in there and you turn it, so you end up putting the ball virtually across the opening and slowing it right down. And what it does, yes, it does slow it down, but eventually sometimes a bit of debris gets blocked up in there and it gets slower and slower. Yeah, until eventually you end up with just a dribble. Alright, and also you find you can't turn them after a while. That when they're on that position, they tend to lock solid and scowl in that position, so it's kind of causing the water to shut down on one appliance. So even if you've got mains, with these you can still have problems. A lot of times then, what we're looking at here is these isolation valves, as they're called, are a problem. They're putting all over the place. And the funny thing is, actually, once you turn the screw, 9 times out of 10 they start to leak. So if you know you've got any of those somewhere, the answer is something that looks a bit ugly. I know, this is one of these. And this is the valve that does it, because if you open this up, you'll see that it's full way right through, no restriction, and you can just let it off of half a turn. Never leak, always good. My advice, change to those when and if you can. Okay, so it's just a little one on low pressure to your taps. And also one other thing that can happen sometimes, you've got the older type of tap, they can actually shut themselves off. The screw thread inside comes loose and they actually shut themselves down. So if you find you've got a tap that's not got many turns on it, when you turn it, it's only got one maybe or half a turn, that will be the problem there. I'll give you a link to how to fix that one as well, and we should be all tickety-boo. Anyway, that's about it though, just a little update. Someone asked me about the low pressure problem, so I thought I'll revisit it again and just fill you on a few more things that can be the problem. Okay, that's about it though. All my stuff in on the go, usual place, Derrick33. Thanks for watching guys, bye bye.